Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hideaway Homestead. I'm Mike, this is Chris.
How's it going?
And on today's episode, we're going to be doing some maintenance here for the old John Deere. So we've got a couple of things planned. We're going to be changing the oil. We're going to be taking a look at the air filters. If time permits, we may end up even looking at some of the hydraulics just to see if we're, if we need any fluid and what's going on there. Anything else, Chris, that you
also going to change the fuel filter.
Fuel filter,
yep.
Okay.
And definitely needs that.
Yep, and we'll probably check like the radiator fluid and stuff like that, and just kind of give kind of an overall maintenance. And you should be doing that how often?
Depending on the piece of equipment, 250 to every 500 hours for general maintenance, or a PM, a preventive maintenance service. Larger pieces of equipment or larger farm tractors that are in dusty environments, usually it's on the 200 to 250 range. Like I said, depends on how busy you are operating the piece of equipment. So,
and we've never, full disclosure, we've never done any maintenance on a John Deere before.
No.
So, and this is my first time doing maintenance on a tractor in general. Chris has done a little bit in the past and has some experience, so this will be a learning curve for both of us a little bit.
Yeah.
As usual, if you like our video and you like our content, please click like down below. That really helps us out, and definitely share with your friends and family. And if you like the content that we're putting out every week, you may want to consider hitting subscribe down below as well. We come out with new episodes every Thursday, and we're all over social media. But yeah, let's get to it.
I guess just to be on the safe side, we're going to need to double check the filters. This model is a 2005 4120 that could have two different engines in it. There is a serial number break for this year. I did pick up the filters according to the information we had when the machine was purchased. So let's double check that now before we get too far and can't go, because the store's closed or whatever.
So you can see here what you have to do is you have to pull this pin out, and then it's going to be located underneath of here. So if I reach underneath, there's a little lever here. If I reach underneath and pull that up, now it's unlocked.
Okay, if you're looking for your engine serial number, it should be located on the left-hand side, underneath or above on this model where the starter is. And that'll be specific to the unit that you've purchased. That will tell you the horsepower, the year that this was made, and the variations between year models. A few things that you're probably going to need to do your first service or PM or whatever you'd like to call it. Of course, the filters, oil filter. This model has a single fuel filter. Your air filter. Enough oil to do the change. Most series John Deere like this size take about I'd say 1.5 to 1.8 gallons of engine oil, 1540. So that's why we have 2 gallons. We'll have a little extra just in case. Need a wrench for the drain plug. This series is 1 1/16. For the fuel filter, you'll need a flathead screwdriver to bleed the fuel. It'd be best if you add a little diesel to the filter before you spin it on. It does help in the long run. A little brake clean just in case you make a mess. And an oil pan to catch all your oil. Of course, don't drain it in your driveway. It's not healthy. So other than that, a wrench or two, depending on if you needed to tighten something up. We also will have a grease gun. I need to go get that from the shed to make sure all the Zerk fittings or nipple lubes or grease fittings for every joint, pin, bushing are filled. So that's after the fact we get all the filters and stuff changed, but something that it would be good to keep up on. If the loader frame is lubricated, the pins will last for a considerably long time.
And a good buddy to help cheer you on and be there for moral support.
Exactly, that always helps.
That was a lot.
Yep.
That's crazy. So Chris, can you tell just from looking at it that it was overdue, that it needed to be done, or?
By a little bit. The darker it gets,
Wasn't too bad though.
I don't see any metal shavings or anything, so that's a good sign. Just no sediment, no dirt, so that's good as well. So I'm just gonna let that sit for a little bit and drain. Now Mike did have the tractor running beforehand, which is a good thing. Kind of warms everything up, gets the oil moving. It does help if there's any sediment here in the bottom of the drain pan. Next step after starting to drain the oil, I'm going to loosen the oil filter here. Now Mike mentioned earlier that this funnel or drain piece does help when loosening this, because you will get a little oil, residual oil from the filter. And unscrew it slowly, it doesn't pour out all at once. And now I will set the oil filter in the drain pan to finish empty. Okay, since we're letting that drain, how about we move over to the fuel filter and take care of that right now. As I was saying earlier, this tractor has one fuel filter. Some of them have two, some of them have a single spin-on and an inline filter, but this series has one spin-on fuel filter with a breather and a hand pump on the housing. So what we're going to do is put a little diesel fuel in this once we remove this filter. Just to be on the safe side, we placed a bucket underneath where the fuel filter is sitting, just in case there's any residual fuel that may leak out, taking the filter off and putting the new one on. So let's see here. We will turn this. Ooh. A little tight, but that's a good thing. You don't want no fuel coming out. There's a rubber gasket in here. There, see, just a little bit of fuel.
And is that what you meant, Chris? You're going to fill up the next one similar, and then you'll put it back on?
That is correct. So there is no air in the line. With diesel engines, you do not want to have fuel or air in the fuel lines. It's not good for the machine. I'll just set that in there. And stick this back right quick. Get you the rest of the fuel. Okay, the next step here, it would be best to loosen this right here, which is the drain, or it lets air pressure out of the line. So you loosen that just a little bit. See how fuel comes out? Good.
Tighten it back just a little bit when you see the fuel. Okay.
So it's still open, so when I put the fuel filter on, it's going to press the air out, and then we close that off she should be good to go. Let's see here. That off, see a little fuel, that means I need to tighten it a little bit more. And see this right here, this is where it's called a hand pump for the fuel. Let's see if this actually there you go. See the fuel? Now that is completely filled. Tighten that by hand. Slight turn with the flathead screwdriver.
Job's done.
Yes, sir. Fuel filter is ready to go. We just finished the fuel. The oil is pretty much drained. You'll see a few residual drops here and there. It's the last bit that's in the oil pan. Wipe that off and slide the drain plug back in. Make sure that is tight. Now, you don't want to over tighten these. And tighten. Should be good to go. This series takes 1.8 gallons, so we will put the oil filter on and then put about 1.5 gallons in and then check it from there. The oil filter, like you saw earlier, goes in horizontally, not vertically, so we can't add oil to it before we screw it in place like we did with the fuel filter. Okay, now before I put the oil filter on, I'm going to take a little bit of the new oil and rub around the seal before I thread it on to the piece that attaches to the engine. Now once again, this does not have to be extremely tight. Hand tight like that will work just perfect. Going to clean up a little bit. There is some oil on the drain slot, I guess you would call it. A little bit on the steering axle and whatnot. I use Gunk all the time. Of course, not a sponsor yet. So it works great. There's a link in the description below if you want to pick yourself up some. Pretty much use it for a lot of things, from cleaning your hands after doing this to taking care of any oil residue that's on the engine or grease that's on the axles. It does help break that up considerably. I'm going to undo the oil filler cap. Place the funnel down inside and proceed to top it off with some oil. Put some oil in and see right there, right in the middle of the check boxes. They're good to go. So I did about, I'd say a gallon and about 2/3. So I have this much left in this for something else, or to top this off if, you know, needs to be down the road and you're a little shy on some oil. It'd be best to periodically check it before you use it. You know, not every time, but it'd be a good idea to though. Okay, the next step is we're going to replace the air filter. This model, it's a little tight fitting there, so what I'm going to do is unscrew this band clamp, take off the intake tube, then remove the air cleaner cap. Maybe that'll give us enough room to get the filter out itself. These are spring clips. Be careful, these things can break very easily, and depending on the series or manufacturer, sometimes they are hard to get. Careful, this thing probably full of dust. Okay.
And this is why it's important to change your air filters out, folks, because that can really impact the performance of the tractor.
Now you'll notice that this has two air filters, pre-filter, secondary filter. The inside filter is practically brand new. That's why I'm not replacing it. I'm just going to put the outside filter over top of it. Okay, one of the final steps since we did the oil, the fuel, now we're going to check the antifreeze. Just by looking at the overflow, it's a little low, but there is some fluid in there. So I'm going to make sure it's cool. You don't want to burn yourself.
Safety first, kids.
No, it looks like there's plenty of it in the radiator. I'm not sure if you can see it. Has a slight yellow tint to it.
So we just need a little bit for the overflow.
Bring it up to the full cold line, and we're good to go.
And you're there.
Good to go. Now, since we did the service, I'm going to go and grease all of the fittings. You'll see one at every pivot point along the loader frame. Every pin has one. The grease helps with mobility, movement from the cylinder all the way to the linkage of the loader itself. Okay everybody, just a recap of everything we did today. Changed the oil, changed the fuel filter, topped off the antifreeze in the radiator, and we went around and greased all of the Zerk fittings on the loader frame here. Pretty quick and easy, a little less than a couple hours, depending on how much time you have. It shouldn't take you much time at all to service your machine here. We were lucky enough to be able to have a local John Deere dealer close by where we were able to get the oil and filters. You might be able to find them online.
And if you have a different tractor brand, just look it up online and see if you can't find a dealer. It's probably the easiest way to get parts for your particular tractor.
Yep. So other than that, I think we're pretty much done for today. Need to do a little test drive and make sure there's nothing leaking, make sure everything went good, and then we should be done.
As usual, if you liked our video today, click like down below. That helps us out and helps the family out. And if you like the show, maybe consider hitting subscribe down below as well and hitting the bell for notifications when new videos post. As I mentioned earlier, we do new videos every Thursday. We do some video logs in between, and we're pretty heavily involved on social media, so definitely reach out to us and drop in and say hi.
Don't forget, make time for dirt time.